also in the Conejo field, belonging to the Costa Rica precinct, but on the road going to El Dorado, 14 members of the PISA were detained. 3 long tools and 2 or 3 vehicles were seized from them, one of which ended up in a canal when they tried to flee. Here I will show you the image of the detainees. And I'm going to play you an audio of what the guys with the hats were saying about this incident.
¿Qué fue ahora, chapocetas? ¿Qué fue? ¿Qué les pasó en el campo Conejo? ¿Qué les pasó con esa bola de detenidos, pues? No que son buenos para pelear, que pelean con el gobierno, con la maguiza. Van y dan el culo y se entregan todo. Y pues también, ¿quién va a querer pelear con esos pinches rifles 22 que le quitaron, hombre? Oh, dígale a sus patrones que le den equipos buenos. Dígale a Iván y a José Ángel, a Alfredo, que le den equipos buenos. Con esos equipos no van a entrar ni a los arcos ahí del Dorado, para que sepan. Déjense de cosas, la maguiza trae equipos que no se imaginan. Y gente tenemos a lo verga. Ya déjense de cosas, anda peleando el Dorado, váyanse para la norte, para Badiraguato, a ver qué hacen para allá. Vayan a hacer caso para la norte, porque cuando entremos a la ciudad y le quitemos la ciudad, ¿después dónde se van a ir? Para allá donde van a correr y no van a tener dónde dormir. Así que déjense de cosas ya. Díganme que le den equipo bueno. Y otra cosa, no anden de llorones por los radios pidiendo apoyo. No dejen tonto ahí pidiendo apoyo a su gente. Si ya sabemos que los chapocetos los dejan morir solos. Apoyo, apoyo, apoyo. ¿Por qué apoyo le va a llegar? Y son más culones que la vez que todos los que están en la ciudad metidos. A ustedes lo mandan de puro carne de cañón. A entregar las armas con el gobierno a matarse o que los matemos. Ya ven cómo les fue. Sigan mandando más gente, para que pierdan más gente. Ya les dijimos, el Dorado ya tiene dueño, ya está marcado todo ahí. Y puro mallito flaco y puro para adelante, puro malliza, mi compa.
On November 13th, on the highway at the level of the Canachi Lagoon, at around 7 in the morning, they left 8 people with a message and an axe. And, well, imagine the image was very strong. Out of the 8 they left, 3 people were indeed passing information. The other 5 were just friends of these men and, unfortunately, they were dismissed. Here I leave you a video.
Mucha presencia militar, de hecho, incluso utilizaron algunas cobijas para cubrir, para tapar a las personas, porque estaban pasando pues muchos turistas.
Only this day, Wednesday in November, there were people who resigned. Then the next day, 3 people were found who were already resigned. Around 7 in the morning next to the Carrizalejo cemetery. Then one of the most accurate blows reported was dealt to those of La Pisa. I am referring to the detention, the arrest of Omar Felix Loaiza, nicknamed El Pelon or El Ocho. It was carried out by military personnel in the city of Culiacan in the Las Quintas neighborhood when he was leaving a kind of medical spa for beauty care. I mean, tell me, who in their right mind goes to a city at war to get facial treatments, seeing how things are and knowing they are a government priority target? And why? Because he was the one who fought against the Salazar in Sonora. He was in charge of that conflict, of collecting from the migrants who passed through and all that stuff. That is why his arrest was a hard blow to the Pisa organization, because he was sending money for the fight in. The truth is that clearly it was nonsense what this friend did. But as we well know, obviously it was set up by his enemies, since they knew the time and place of the appointment where he was going. And well, this friend went alone without lookouts, secretaries, or escorts. According to him, since he was fighting in Sonora, he could walk around Culiacan as he pleased. How mistaken he was, but now he's found out. Here, I will show you an image of him. Well, there you have it. One of the important men in La Pisa, labeled by the government as a violence instigator, and now is behind bars. In Himala, there was a strong confrontation between the two groups. Those with the hat entered to territory controlled by those of the Pisa. The confrontation occurred, those of the Pisa ran, and those with the hat returned to their land. I don't know if many of you saw on social media some photos of some stickers of Yosemite Sam stuck to the sign in Himala. The next day, there was a lot of movement throughout the city of Culiacan. Many caravans of equipped people were patrolling the city. Also in Quila, they gave pursuit to a police officer towards the ranch named San Cayetano. The government seized 5 vehicles, 3 of them armored, and a lot of long tools. A fact that I find very important and at the same time unfortunate is that 1,184 families have been displaced from those residential areas in Cosala, El Rosario, San Ignacio, Elota, and Culiacan. It is also a true nightmare to see so many people who have to flee their homes due to this situation. In the Lomas del Sol neighborhood in Culiacan, at about 9:30 at night, in an attempted robbery, Pedro de Legorreta was injured. A well-known character from Culiacan affiliated with the National Action Party, 2 individuals on a motorcycle arrived. What they did was assault him, and during an exchange of words, the people on the motorcycle shot him and wounded him afterward. They took Pedro to the hospital, but after a few hours, he lost his life. These 2 men on the motorcycle were workers for Teo, a well-known commander of the Pisa, who is one of those causing more trouble there in the capital, doing things like the striped houses and everything. Also, there was found a resigned policeman who had been given ride days earlier. Also, on the day of November, the one who was the deputy director of the municipal police of Culiacan was resigned. If you remember, I showed it to you in an episode where I showed you the photo of him and other police commanders. That police officer's name is Benjamin Villarreal Guerrero. And, well, what happened was what was already expected to happen. They gave him the resignation. The bad part is that it was inside a cafe in a residential area in Culiacan in the afternoon. Something very unfortunate was that a couple who had absolutely nothing to do with this were also dismissed at that place. What is happening. A very regrettable situation. In a mini casino, also known as a game room, there were 3 people dismissed. Also, in a taqueria, they dismissed a woman there in Culiacan. 2 hooded individuals arrived and dismissed her right there in front of everyone. Something that was very talked about in Estacion Obispo was a party being held. A group of man-gun arrived at the place, and there, 2 people were fired, and they gave a ride to 2 others. One of them was a police officer. Another incident that was widely talked about was that they gave a ride to Miguel Vivanco, better known as the Jasper. Do you remember that I talked a little about him in the episode of Marquitos Toys? Well, a few days later he was obviously found resigned. This was around Saturday, November 23rd. He was found around 7 in the morning on a dirt road south of Culiacan. I have to clarify something very important because I've been telling you. There's a lot of misinformation. And in all the places where this news came out, they said that Jasper was a YouTuber. No, gentlemen, Jasper was not a YouTuber. He appeared in some videos and, as I've told you, he was a friend of Marquitos Toys. But Jasper was not a YouTuber. Make that clear. And they resigned him for supporting the pizza people. The matter is, in which my sources told me that this friend gave a lot of very compromising information about Marquitos. And when I say compromising, you know what I mean. But, well, as they say, one more stripe doesn't matter to the tiger. A macabre discovery occurred on the Maxi Highway near the Kanashi Lagoon. A cooler was found with remains of resigned people incinerated. This place has been very troubled, just like the area of the School of Agronomy, as in both locations, countless resignations have been found. In Culiacan, 3 abandoned people were found in a Toyota Highlander. This was due to a confrontation that occurred from car to car a few meters from the Highlander. Another vehicle with impacts, a Tiguan SUV, was found. I think all this happened near the Agricultores Boulevard. Military equipment was found inside the vehicles. On the 24th of November, near the Nabolato La Bandera area, there was a clash between the groups. I considered this important because it was the first time those with the hats attacked in Nabolato, so deep inside. Toward the direction of Concordia, there was a strong clash between both groups, in which 1 member of the hat agents and 9 of the trample agents were eliminated. In Mazatlan, another municipal police officer was dismissed. It's becoming customary, but they don't understand that they shouldn't go along with the 40. On Monday, November 25th, 65 security cameras were shot in Culiacan. Pay attention. There were just over 420 cameras, and with these 65, only about 89 cameras are still working. The good thing is that among those 89 cameras, there is an armored one. Here, I'll show it to you. Here you can see in the image, I don't know if the camera has some kind of force field here. Something that, like the bullets, spread to the sides because not a single one hit it. There, the government is practically left without being able to see what is happening. Although, let's be honest, it's not like they do anything. But now they have another excuse not to do their job. On Tuesday, November 26th, 5 people were found abandoned at the agronomy school. Apparently, some of them were given ride in Nabolato. Obviously, they were left there by members of the PISA. Francisco Javier Velázquez was also found resigned, a state policeman who had been given ride days earlier. A confrontation occurred at the Cruz de Lota. The people with the hat attacked the people of El Chivo, who is in charge there at the Cruz de Lota. There were roadblocks, but it did not escalate. El Chivo retreated to the town of Benito Juarez. As I already told you in a video, people from the hat burned the suchis of Marquitos Toys in Culiacan, the ranch roll. The 2 places they have in Culiacan, and also were given notice to also close the one in Mazatlan, along with other food establishments and other types of businesses owned by the pizza people. They were told to close their businesses, although it seems strange to me because I didn't see them mention this plaza I'm about to show you, which is owned by the Guzman Salazar brothers. They also didn't mention the establishment La Viquina, that it is well known to be owned by Ovidio, the Ratonchito. Here I am going to show you the photos of the plaza. Then, the ones from the Pisa returned the blow and burned the offices of the Motel Emperor for the north zone of Culiacan, the community known as Alto El Coyote. Elements of the Navy encountered a group of Tolarospis. There was an exchange of gunfire. Here I show you the images. Well, what's curious here is that the government reported that they detained 2 people who worked for Alfredo Beltran Guzman, El Mochomito. Along with them, 4 long weapons were seized, a potato launcher and 2 potatoes, blue pills and a 50, as I said. The curious thing is that El Mochomito was at that place and was also arrested, but the Secretary of Public Security of the state of Sinaloa, Gerardo Umerida Sanchez, released him. Then he said it was a mistake because they didn't know who he was. Obviously that wasn't the case, but well, the Mochomito got lucky. I read in some news that it was said the Mochomito paid $3 million, which is 100% false. He did not pay that amount. But the biggest exaggeration I read on an account on X called Chapiza Alb. There this mythomaniac said that the Mochomito gave $3 million, that Ivan gave 10, and that the one with the flowers and the Guzman exchanged the seized pills in a home. You see, it was the largest seizure in history. I am informed that they also delivered the Infinity Stones to defeat Thanos, the Dragon Balls to make a wish, Arturo's white boots, Nacho's diamond grips, Amado's 727, Minnie's Panga, and a graphology course by Marifer Centeno. All this they gave in exchange for the one who scheduled their meeting with Chomin's people in Vallarta. Right now, I wish I had a BJ that size because I'm already tired of doing it myself. But well, for those who don't know who this young man is, you can see him in my previous episodes. In podcast number 20, we talked in depth about this guy. Very well. Just like in November, they found a police officer, Hector Gabriel, resigned, adding to the long list of police officers who have resigned because of this conflict. On Saturday in November, they found 3 people resigned on the bypass from San Pedro to Villa Juarez in the municipality of Nabolato, and also on the road left a vehicle near the agronomy school. A Kicks vehicle inside of they left 6 people dismissed. It was also reported the launch of explosive devices in El Rosario, Sinaloa. They continue with their terror practices. In Mazatlan, people from El Say ran into the Marines and fired some shots. Consequently, the Marines stopped the Tacoma. I will show you because this photo of the detained young man made me laugh a lot. Here you see him, the big friend, smiling. In the Aguaruto prison in Culiacan, there was a brawl where 1 person ended up resigned and 3 more were injured. The person executed was from Taquichamona, people of Lupe Tapia. Lastly, an announcement from Pisa was released where they prohibit Didi and Uber drivers from working after 8 o'clock at night. Here, I will show you the recording.
A todos los días, hijos de toda su putísima madre, que sigan trabajando de hoy en adelante en la ciudad capital de Culiacán. Se les va a empezar a matar para que sepan, hijos de toda su puta madre. Aquí no van a trabajar, no va a haber Didis. De aquí en adelante Culiacán no va a tener Didis, ni Uber. El que siga trabajando se le va a matar, a chingar a su madre. Ni InDrive, ni ninguna mamada de esa.
Well, you heard it. That's because the people in hats have gotten into private cars to resign people in Culiacan, and they also use those types of vehicles that are on these platforms to move things or point out or get up to do things you already know about. And that's how war is. I don't understand why they are messing with those things. They're like the weeping girl, crying about everything. If they also, as I already told you, use trucks from the Federal Electricity Commission, Bimbo Trucks, and other companies. You saw in the Culiacanazos how Telmex vans were seen. They have their techniques and strategies. It should be noted that those ideas are not originally theirs. Those techniques came out of the office several years ago, and others also have their techniques and strategies. So, no crying? Those who engage must also endure. Well, friends, this month, more than anything, they have focused on vandalizing houses, painting graffiti on the walls, and setting fire to a few. Here I will show you some images. Here you can see this house that was vandalized and painted. Here is this other one. Here I am going to show one more. Same with this house. The fourth house. They also write the same, that they are not welcome in Sinaloa. And here lastly, I show you this one. This has been the daily bread in Culiacan, and many may wonder why they do it. Look, this is just a strategy with which they seek to generate the perception that this group is winning. They want to make the population see with those messages that Maisa is not welcome here. That in Sinaloa, they are not welcome. They are trying to get into people's heads that they have control, and that they are the locals, and that the others with the hat are the ones coming from outside, so that psychologically the population starts to think that those from Elapisa are from Culiacan and the others are not, which is nonsense, since the ones from outside are those of the Pisa. Yoma has been there long before the Pocha arrived. For example, another strategy they use, and you have seen it, is that those from La Pisa leave people quit in heaps. I'm talking about leaving 3 in one place, 5 in another, 8 in another, and at another point, and resignations in another place, and what is that for? It's for the same thing, to put the thought into the population that they are getting rid of the people with the hat. It's just for that. Everything is about perception. It's to draw attention, to make people believe that they are winning, which hasn't been useful at all. Now the big question? Who's winning? Unfortunately, the cheerleaders of the Pisa won't like to hear the truth. But you can notice who is advancing, who is getting into the other group territories. On the contrary, you see they entered Himala, they entered Nabolato. I'm not saying they took over those territories, but they did enter. So it's clear that the group of the people with hats is advancing. And likewise in Culiacan, they're getting in more and more. As I already told you, they were being called on the radio and no one came out to confront them. Excuse me if many people might think that I'm exaggerating or that I'm making things up. As Maestro Juan Gabriel said, what is seen is not asked about. Notice how they increasingly enter territories controlled by those from La Pisa. And it's easy, friends. Time won't let me lie. You'll see. If you want to doubt right now, don't worry. Later on, you'll realize there's no lie here. Now, friends, we'll answer more questions. More of your questions. What do you think about them burning the grave of Vicente's son? That was false. Ocran, if you had the chance to be in that world, which side would you be on? I did not completely understand this question. But if it's asking if I had the possibility to be in the Ocran, which Telcar would I be with, if that's it? Believe me, I do have the chance. I have many friends, many acquaintances, and some relatives involved there, and I think I would start my own organization so things would be done like before, more like gentlemen. Why do you charge for some episodes and not others if the information is free? And you know it. I don't understand why you want to profit by charging for your full episodes if YouTube is already paying you. According to you, you're concerned about spreading the truth, and you're already making money with that through your paid subscribers on top of what YouTube pays you. Right? No. Well, wasn't the spirit with which you started to reveal the truth? Well, friends, why do you pay for water? If water is free, you can go to the river. Why don't you take water from the river as free? Some episodes are charged and others not, so that this channel can be maintained. Because if you haven't noticed, there are some episodes that aren't monetized because of the topics we discuss. You think I'm profiting. If it bothers you so much, why don't you start your own channel? Do it for free. Do your research. Talk about these topics and don't charge for it. Tell me, why do people pay for their jail transport? That's free. They can do it. Anyone can do it. But they don't because it's risky, right? It's better to pay and eliminate the risk. Well, here we take the risk. That's why we charge, so that the team and I have the capital to do this in a somewhat safer way. But that's why we also have free episodes. Another question. Do you really know where Ivan Archibaldo is hiding? Be honest, a yes or a no. I know what state he's in, and sometimes we know where he is, and then we lose track of him sometimes, but then he shows up again. Why does everyone say they are Ivan's security chiefs? The Pano, the Paris, the Pilli, the Gavilan, and now the Guerrito. Why don't they know? That question is very easy. As we know here, we do say it like it is. So you can tell that all the news blatantly lie to you. There you have an answer on where you need to go to find the truth. Why hasn't the Chavo Felix gotten involved in the war to support the MF? Greetings. Greetings to you too. I have completely different information. Will conflict extend until the miners are captured? Greetings from Tepatitlan, Jalisco, Lomeli. Greetings to Tepatitlan. It might be earlier, but most likely yes, until the minors are no longer there. The MM and their business are necessary for the United States. It's something that will always exist, and if it's not them, others will come to take their position or place. What would have happened if Miguel Angel Felix Gallardo had not been captured? Obviously, he would still be free. Forgive me, it's just that I can't give you a certain answer because I'm not as cool as some crazy guy who says he's DEA. His Instagram is bienbellico01. That guy Nase is really crazy and out of it. But seriously, what would have happened? Easy. Someone would have betrayed him, they would have caught him, or he would have stepped down. Because that's how that business is. Could it be that all this chaos with cars exploding and firing shots from planes is on purpose because they're leaving? I mean, since they already have a deal, they're leaving and want to leave things hot for the others. No, quite simply. It's to instill terror and frighten. Why don't they grow Coca-Cola leaf in Mexico? Good question. There is, but very, very little. And it's that it hardly grows. I don't know if it has to do with the soil, the climate, all those factors, but believe me, they have tried to plant it hundreds of hectares, and still nothing. The Posha knows everything that happens outside. No, he doesn't know everything that happens outside, but he does have his television, and obviously, his lawyers can visit him and they can tell him everything. But lawyers never tell you everything that happens. If you say that the Chapitos only rule in Mexico, who rules in the United States? Is there any group that particularly has more influence? Other groups. It is a very large, very multicultural country. There are many people of different nationalities, of different races, and therefore, there are many organizations like, for example, as mentioned before, the MM, there are the Italians, the African Americans, the LK, each are in their own area. Talk about the resignation of Diego Rivas. Is it true that Ovidio Guzman ordered his resignation? No, that's false. Ratoncito didn't order his resignation. What is Ivan like? That's something very extensive. Better to see it in an episode just about him. In fact, In the next episode, you're going to learn a bit about him before he became the leader of the organization. Does the well-known YouTube rule about topics related to the OCRAN bother you? Of course it does, and a lot. YouTube censors quite a bit. Well, friends, we've reached the end of this episode. I hope you liked it, had fun, and were entertained. As I tell you, with this, you are a little more informed about what is happening in the conflict taking place in Sinaloa. This is what's confirmed, what's real. So you don't have to see it on corrupted social media or on news channels that don't show the truth of things. Here, we bring you things as they are. Be ready for the raffle we are going to hold. Good luck to everyone. And if things keep going well for us next year, God willing, we will be doing raffles every month. You already know this. All of this is thanks to your support. Don't forget that the unique and real narrative of the Ocran world is only found here. A hug for all of you, and see you in the next episode. Blessings to everyone. Greetings, my friends.